give the opening statement from Coach and then take questions after. If you guys have questions, just raise your hands, please.
I mean, we schedule these games for a reason. We like to go against best teams in the country and figure out what we got to work on. We've got plenty to work on after this game. I mean, they're good. Like, Braden Smith's one of the best guards in the country. I mean, they don't turn the ball. They had 3 turnovers as a team. We got beat up in the post a little bit more than I thought we were going to. Getting Cliff, I didn't think we were going to need to double as much. And Kaufman-Wren obviously wasn't their primary post-up guy, playing with Edie for the last, pretty much his whole career here. So he didn't post up as much, and I didn't know he was that good. And he kind of killed us in there. So, and it wasn't just Cliff; it was everybody that guarded him. So, coaching staff's got to do a better job prepping for post-ups like that. We got to do a better job getting our shooters open. We didn't do a great job getting our shooters open, and then shoot. You got to give them a lot of credit, though. I mean, those guards are good. They're super skilled. Smith, Lawyer, and they don't turn the ball over much. They don't miss many shots. I mean, Braden goes 0 for 4 from 3 and still ends up with 17, 10, and 6 with only 1 turnover. So I didn't think we did a great job on some of the stuff, and we still had a 6-point lead with 10 minutes to go, and they just kind of walked us down after we got up 6. So they're good. We've got some work to do. We'll get back to the drawing board and get better. We got a big one coming up against Illinois on Wednesday.
Hey, Nate, right here. One of the things in Alabama in the early season has been shooting, and I think you had a little better tonight than what you've had in the first 3 games. Talk a little bit about how you're looking at this game, coming in here to Mackey and playing Purdue. You got an incredible schedule ahead of you. What are you looking for your guys to improve on from this game forward?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously defensively we got to do a better job in the post. We got to do a better job keeping teams off the offensive boards. I thought, Purdue did a pretty good job on the O boards with us. We've got to do a better job finding better shots for our shooters, and those are the biggest things. I just, we've got to do a little bit better job closing games too, like with some effort. I thought we'd be able to wear them down a little bit more. We didn't. I thought they closed the game better than we did after we got up 6. So, some of that's maybe we got to keep some guys a little more fresh in there. We got to find some different lineups, but we've got some young freshmen we're figuring out. LeBaron looked pretty good tonight. We got to figure out ways to get some of these other guys, some new guys in the rotation maybe a little bit more and stay a little more fresh as we work through the game, trying to keep our pace up.
Okay. Nate, y'all hit a couple threes to start the second half. Seemed like it was maybe an opportunity to kind of snatch the momentum away, and then they go on that 13-0 run. What did you kind of notice in the middle of that run that was going wrong, and how they just kind of take advantage of maybe some of those mismatches in the paint, like you mentioned?
Yeah, when was the 13-0 run? Did I call the timeout in the middle of that? Where was that at?
Was about 11 minutes left in the second half.
After we went up 6, right after that they went up 13. They had made a 13-0 run.
Yep.
Yeah, we got to do a better job, guarding some of their actions. I mean, they bring the ball up the floor. They get the primary handlers in the actions. We didn't do a great job. We're able to get downhill on some of that, and then once we got up 6, we were able to play in transition a little bit more, and then they got more into a half-court game at that point. And when we got in half-court, we didn't execute some stuff like we needed to, and we didn't do a good job in the half-court. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at that run. I wasn't aware. Obviously, I knew we got up, and then they made a run. I didn't know. I'll have to look at that a little bit more on tape.
On the left.
Hey, Coach, Kyle over here to your left. I saw your quote with Cliff earlier in the week about how loud it is here. What was it like to play here? Just fans in general, just enjoying the game and how loud it was here.
Yeah, I love the environment. I mean, they got big time environment here. It's my first time being here. I grew up in Big Ten country. I've been in most of the Big Ten arenas. I hadn't been here yet, so I'm a big basketball fan in general. As a fan, this would have been a great game to go to. As an opposing coach, it makes it a little bit more difficult. I mean, it's hard to get your play calls out. They don't hear you very well. It's, when they're on a run, I mean, it's loud in there, and when they need to stop, it gets loud. So, they've done a great job. Coach Painter's done a great job. Somebody gave me a stat over teams that have just played in Power 5 conferences in the last 5 years. They got more wins than anybody in the country does. So this is one of the premier basketball programs in the country, and they've got one of the best home environments, anybody in the country, is good for our guys to come in and experience it, and hopefully we learn a lot from it.
Thanks, Coach. Up front.
So in that run that we were just talking about, you're still up 1, and then 3 straight possessions where CJ Cox, number 0, hits shots and turns it into a. So I'm just curious, what was on the scout about him? You know, being a true freshman and a guy who wasn't even necessarily like highly recruited coming out of high school. I'm just curious what you guys were expecting and what you saw happen in that stretch.
I mean, we had him down as one of the shooters, but kind of like you said, reputation coming out of high school as a shooter. He hadn't done this any games. I mean, they had some guys step up. They got him free, and we didn't do a great job guarding him. And yeah, I mean, that was big. I mean, his 18 minutes were big. I mean, you look, they were +9 in his 18 minutes. I mean, outside of, Kaufman, Wren, and Lawyer, he was the third best +- on the team. So he played an efficient 18 minutes. They got him open. He made shots at a high level. So, we didn't anticipate him being that good, but we definitely knew he was capable of shooting it. But yeah, he went on a little run there.
Stay up front.
Nate, last year when you played Purdue, it was kind of a track meet, that it was kind of the star players for both teams hitting shots. This year, Matt said the other day, his bench had to be better than yours to have a chance in this game. And I thought, whether it was or not, Purdue got some big production off of the bench. Did that kind of surprise you how deep Purdue was with some of these guys?
Yeah, I didn't, we knew Colvin could shoot. I thought we did a pretty decent job on him, but Cox kind of picked up the slack there. So, and I mean, they've got a decent, Hyde can shoot, First gives them a decent, better than decent backup big. I mean, he's starting a lot of places in the country. So we knew their bench was good. I guess we ended up outscoring by 6 off the bench, but part of that was Barron had such a good game, and he had been starting for us. So, his 18 helped us. We got to get a little bit better production from some other guys off the bench, and that's us finding the right role for some of these new guys and figuring it out. But yeah, they got a complete team. I mean, they're good. They don't have Edie, but they're very good, and Trey's going to be one of the better forwards in the country, and he showed it tonight.
In the back.
Hey Nate, the 1.4 points per possession for them in the second half, and they only take 6 threes. Like, how frustrating is it when you're kind of getting the shots you kind of want, but you're just not just being effective?
Yeah, I mean they've got skilled guys. I mean, you look at some of the shots they hit. I mean, Smith we knew was good. Like I said, he didn't hit a 3. He only got 5 at the free throw line, but he's, he hits 6 twos. He gets downhill. He hits the pull-ups on us. The Lawyer got downhill on a few. He got fouled. Like we had. I mean. We try to play the numbers, but they kind of defied them a little bit. They had, I think, on non-rim twos, like almost half their shots were non-rim twos, and they shot 40 to 45% on them. We had them 12 to 27 on non-rim twos. So, we needed to do a better job, pushing them down to the rim, did some shot blocking. We didn't. We didn't. We need to be better on deep. Our defense struggled a little bit last year. I think we're definitely going to be better this year than we were last year. We've been better so far. This was not one of our better defensive performances, but they got some skilled guys that really made us pay on a few things too.
2 more. On the right.
Smith and Kaufman Wren, they combined shot less than 50%. I mean, if somebody would have told you that they would have done that on the volume that they did, and you guys didn't win, would that have, how much would that have surprised you? And I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some other guys picked it up. Obviously, Cox going 3 of 3 from 3. They still made 9 threes. We tried to take a lot of threes. They hit the same amount we did. They just shot a lot better percentage. I mean, they're 9 of 16, and we were 9 of 29. So, they got efficient shooters, good shots, and I mean, Smith shot 33%, but he had 10 assists, 1 turnover, 7 rebounds, and still scored 17 points. So it's not like you could say he had a bad game. I mean, we forced him into taking some tough shots, and he hit some tough ones, but he missed some too. So Kaufman Wren, I mean, they just kept going to him. So I don't think they anticipated 23 shots from him. We sure didn't, but he got 26 points on 23 shots. He had a pretty good night himself too. So it's early in the season. You know, they showed some stuff that we didn't necessarily expect and we didn't think we'd have issues with, particularly the post-up stuff. So we got to figure it out. Like, we don't guard post-ups much in practice, so we got to do a better job prepping our guys for this. But you know, this team, the program is maybe the best post-up program in the country. They get guys that are good at it. They know how to feed it. They know how to run actions to get it in there. They know how to run actions for their shooters when it goes in there. We saw all that last year with Edie. You know, we didn't think we were going to have to worry as much about, so we didn't really plan on having a double post. And in hindsight, we probably should have a little bit better answer for Kaufman Rim than we did. So that's on us.
Last one, Jack.
You mentioned LeBaron a couple times, but you know, De'Aaron Reed made a couple plays early. Holloway had that 3. How'd you feel just about maybe some of those younger guys stepping up, making a few plays here or there in such a big environment like this in their first time?
Yeah, I mean, we got to get them guys a little bit more involved, maybe, so we can get some of our older guys a few less minutes. But you know, they were good. You know, the 1-3 Holloway hit was in our run when we went up. You know, I think Darion's coming along. He was injured a lot. He still hasn't got the reps that he needs to. You know, I think they're going to help us. LeBaron's been really good, but you know, probably better than what we thought he was going to be. So I thought he had a pretty good game tonight. But we got to keep developing our bench. We got to keep developing the young guys. That they got to help us win a lot of games this year.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.